Paraguay, a country larger than California but smaller than Texas, is one of the least developed of the South American republics. Its isolation from the ocean, except for the long river route southward to the port of Buenos Aires in Argentina, has been a major reason for its slow development. Asunción, founded in 1537, is the capital and the only large city of Paraguay. It is today a colorful blend of the past and the present. Some of the oldest streetcars in South America share the crowded downtown streets with modern automobiles. Many of the people of Paraguay are descendants of immigrants from Europe. Another important part of the population is of Guarani, Indian stock, the original inhabitants of this part of South America. Life is pleasant in this old city that was founded about 50 years after Columbus discovered America. The Rio Paraguay is the country's link with the outside world, and at the river's edge, small vessels are moored beside steamers from Buenos Aires. Business and commerce in Asunción centers about the busy waterfront. Oil, machinery, food, and clothing are shipped in and out over the broad river highway connecting Paraguay with the Atlantic Ocean. Bales of cotton from distant farms are loaded for shipment down the river. The export of hides from Paraguay's ranches brings a large income to the cattlemen of the Chaco. The country is divided into two parts by a great river, the Rio Paraguay. Our story is about the western zone known as El Chaco, a region in which live a few pioneers and some scattered tribes of Indians. Across the river from the city of Asunción lies this vast flat land called the Chaco. The Chaco is a strange country, little known even to Paraguayans, an immense wilderness of scrub stretching hundreds of miles from the Rio Paraguay to the foothills of the Bolivian Andes. It is a land of few people, a land without roads, where the traveler must depend upon the ox cart or the horse. After passing through great stretches of dusty plain, the ox carts and horsemen enter a vast region of swampy ground and shallow lagoons. In the far north, near the river, large areas are covered with quebracho trees. The quebracho tree is a principal source of tannin, a vegetable acid used in the tanning of leather. The logs are hauled from the forest on huge ox carts. Oxen are used in loading the logs onto flat cars. A narrow gauge railroad hauls the logs to the mill located near the Rio Paraguay. At the mill, the logs will be crushed and treated for extraction of the tannin. The finished product will be sent downstream to Asunción for export. In the very heart of the Chaco, there's a small settlement called the Filadelfia colony. In 1930, a handful of people of the Mennonite sect came here from Germany and the Russian Ukraine to begin a new life. Given free land by the Paraguayan government, the Mennonites have built a pioneer community in one of the Earth's least developed areas. The Mennonites built homes much like those they left behind in the old towns and cold climate of Northern Europe. Their way of life follows the pattern of their homeland, where women do a large part of the work. There are no laundries in Philadelphia. Washing with this machine, made by the village carpenter, is part of a woman's household duties. Life for these schoolgirls is a rigid routine of classroom, church, and housework. The cobbler works in the shade behind his cottage, making and repairing shoes for the colonists. Wagon makers repair the wheels of heavy ox carts. Large parcels of land have been cleared for the planting of peanuts, which grow well in sandy soil and are the principal crop. The Mennonites must make most of the machinery they use. They have built their own peanut hullers from timber cut in the nearby forest. Sacks of shelled peanuts are taken to a small factory where the oil is extracted. The sawmill is very important to the colony, making all the lumber needed for the building of houses, wagons, and furniture. The colonists have established an experimental farm. They want to find out what crops grow best and are the most profitable. Vegetables like cabbage are important in this land where canned foods are scarce. Date palms imported from California grow well in this dry region. An important crop is the castor bean, which produces a valuable oil in great demand throughout the world. Bananas, papayas, and grapes are other important food crops which the Mennonites have brought to this region. These courageous men and women, through hard work and great sacrifice, are doing their part to develop this new land. Another modern pioneer who flies his own plane from his home in Asunción to his distant ranch is Bob Eaton, an American who came to the Chaco more than 30 years ago. He is greeted by his ranch foreman, Martin Flores, a veteran cattleman who lives at the estancia headquarters, located 200 miles from the Rio Paraguay in the wild interior of the Chaco. Bob visits his ranch frequently to talk with Martin. Problems are discussed while they enjoy a refreshing drink of tereré, an herbal tea which is the usual drink in this part of South America. These 5 jaguar skins were taken from animals shot by Bob's hunter within a few miles of the ranch house. Jaguars are great cats that kill thousands of steers each year. This is one of the problems of cattle raising in the Chaco. Bob and Martin ride out to inspect work on the estancia. Guns are worn because, in addition to the jaguar, there are still cattle rustlers in the Chaco. It takes many days to brand the calves. Based on long experience in the Chaco, Bob prefers the Hereford and Shorthorn breeds. He has more than 15,000 head scattered over the 165,000 acres of his estancia. Marketing his stock is important to the rancher. Every 2 or 3 months, herds of several hundred cattle are driven across the Chaco to faraway Asunción. Bob Eaton and his foreman give careful instructions to the vaqueros before leaving on their drive. Ranching in the central Chaco would be impossible without the help of the friendly Indian tribes. The Lengua Indians are Bob's cowboys and live in their own village on the estancia. After meeting with the cowboys, Bob talks over his portable two-way radio to his agent at the Asunción stockyards. The generator for the radio is hand-operated. Meanwhile, the vaqueros saddle up their horses. The men carry their own blankets and provisions for the difficult 3 weeks' drive. When all are ready, the men ride out to the corral. The steers are counted as they run through the gates to the open country beyond. The cattle stream out at a fast pace, for they are active and fresh. After a few days on the trail, the herd moves more slowly. Sometimes after the rains, they must cross flooded areas. This is a welcome change for the weary cattle, horses, and men. Fording these lagoons brings relief from the otherwise dusty and sun-scorched earth of the Chaco. At midday, the herd must be grazed and rested. Every effort is made to bring the tired cattle to the river without too much loss of weight. The vaqueros eat their lunch in the saddle as they stand watch over the herd. They drink their tereré from a steer's horn. These Indian cowboys must endure many hardships during the long trek from the home ranch to the Rio Paraguay. Camp is made before dark. While some of the men guard the cattle, others build a fire and prepare the evening meal, which consists of a slab of dried beef, softened and heated over the ashes, and a hornful of tereré. After their meal, the men rest, using their saddles as pillows, glad that another day of their long journey is past. The cattle graze and rest during the night, but at daybreak, the herd is on the trail once more. Driving the half-wild cattle through swamps is difficult. Often the animals bog down in the soft mud and become frightened. As the drive nears its end, the steers are weary and nervous, and the vaqueros must constantly be alert. When the drive reaches the Rio Paraguay, the cattle are driven into a corral to await their turn at loading onto a river barge. The special barge, towed by a powerful launch, will take them downstream to a landing place above the stockyards. The herd is now in the hands of a new crew of men who are responsible for bringing the cattle safely to Asunción. Crowded into pens on the barge, the steers ride several miles down the Rio Paraguay to the unloading point near the stockyards. The barge is brought as close to shore as possible, below a steep bank. Here the pens are opened and the cattle leap into the water to swim or wade ashore. Once on dry land, the steers head away from the river. At the stockyards, the cattle will be butchered for the local market or processed for shipment to other parts of the world. Their work completed, the vaqueros return over the long trail to their home ranch. Like the colonists of Philadelphia, these self-reliant pioneers are helping to bring civilization to the wild Chaco, one of the world's last frontiers.